So, Matthew, do you admire the way Port Adelaide sent off Robbie Gray?
Yeah, I do. They were very good today. Very good, especially that second half. I don't think their pressure number dropped off the entire quarter, and they were clean with the ball. And so it was a good send off for Rob. Thought he might have gone for a torp there from 60, but fitting send off for him. And to their credit, they were much cleaner than us on the night. We had opportunities in the first half. I thought it was a great game of footy to half time. You know, two teams going at it, and we just didn't take our opportunities when they showed themselves. And then they were far too good in that second half. Finished us off, and we looked a bit fatigued towards the end there, but that can happen when you get behind.
So what's happening in that contest? Because Finlayson's not an AFL run, and yet you got O'Brien giving you a hit out to advantage, but the numbers swing to Port Adelaide's favour at a certain stage and keep going their way. What's happening there?
Oh, well, a number of things. We're not as clean as we need to be off that first hands. I thought we were very good in that space early. We came in with probably... We know each other very well, I think, as sides. We watch a lot of each other's footy, and so we came in with a couple of plans, and they worked early, and then as the game played out, they changed a few things up and did it quite well. They were a little bit stronger over the ball, a little bit cleaner with the ball. But again, we had opportunities in amongst that. It's often you do see where hit-outs, can be, in favour of a team in a big way, and it doesn't necessarily mean the clearance number is that. And I thought they were, that's an area they did well today. Stoppage, considering they didn't dominate hit-outs, and what Finlayson offers around the ground. He's like another on-baller when he gets his hands on it. He's such a good ball user.
How challenging is it when they start getting that uncontested game going where they just hold it and you can't get it back off them?
Yeah, it's challenging when you're on the back foot, so you're a bit behind on the scoreboard. So, they're running on top of the ground, and that's the game. We talked pre-game about our game v their game. We felt like, there was a style of footy we needed to play, and we probably got a half of that. We came in at half-time, and we felt like, okay, if this game plays out the way it is, then we're a big chance. It turned to their game in the second half. And that was off the back of, they're a very good side. We talked about it during the week. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stop that, and that's uncontested marks. That's a bit of possession where, they're finding lead-ups. And unfortunately with that, our pressure number drops right off, and we get caught in between. So without getting into too many of the details, it was a disappointing finish for us for the year, but not one that it won't label our season now. We'll look at it and give credit where it's due to our oppo, but we'll also look at what we've been able to do as a group throughout this year.
How do you label the season?
How do we label the season?
Yeah.
I think we get to the end of the season and we say we've developed as a group. We've had a number of individuals develop and take their games to another level. It's another 22 games into our group, which is the youngest group in the competition. Those 22 games become really important, as we go from year to year. I think we played today. Port might have had 50 games on average more than us. That's 3 years of footy, 2.5 years of footy. So we know where we're at. We've got some things we've got to improve on. Being clean with the ball tonight was the challenge. That was the difference in the game. They were so clean with the footy. It's one area that we'll keep working on. But from our season's point of view, we're taking steps in the right direction, and we'll keep trying to improve.
Did you end up using the pre-game comments at all as motivation?
Pre-game? Oh, during the week?
The stuff during the week.
No, look, we didn't. It wasn't our focus. We spoke about, as I mentioned before, we spoke about their game and their want to take that game into an uncontested, beat us with their skills versus our game, which we were happy to really get down and dirty. Now, they did both tonight. Their pressure was up, as good as any, to their credit. So, unfortunately, we dropped away in that second half, and so too did the scoreboard.
You mentioned polish. Is that something you feel is a major target for you in the off-season in terms of bringing personnel in?
Yeah, it is, but if you look over the last month, you'd say, well, we found that. We talk about, your offence is going great, and so it's not 1 week. We don't just look at tonight's game. We did lack polish tonight. We had a number of opportunities to score, and we didn't. and it was through just the execution. But we feel like we've finished the season off strongly in that area. Sometimes that comes off of a really strong contest or a ground ball, and I think they smashed us in ground ball tonight. I don't know, it was minus 16 or 20 or thereabouts. That's the ability to pick the ball up clean and give it to a teammate, and they were much better in that space.
Do you feel like there's most optimism around the rebuild at the moment?
Well, I hope so, because we're extremely optimistic. When we've got an incredible supporter base that I speak to as many as I can when I get an opportunity. We've seen them, come out to games this year and support us and get behind us, and I hope they feel optimistic about what it is we're doing, because we feel we're heading in the right direction. We feel we're playing that brand of footy that is going to get us there. There are always areas you've got to clean up. When you're not playing finals footy, there are things you've got to be better at, and so we'll go away and work on those. Polish has been the one everyone talks about. I feel like we've made some ground in that this year, and we've had our moments, and unfortunately tonight wasn't one.
Matthew, talk about during the week. How did your defenders feel about the last time they'd see Robbie Gray? Who wanted to be the one who was handling him for the last time?
Yeah, they were all keen to play tonight, but they got a massive amount of respect for Robbie because they've seen him play. As I said, we watch a lot of Port Adelaide's footy. We come from the same town. It's the big rivalry. Joshy Worrell had a really good crack at it tonight, and we, as a team, didn't really give our backs, the best opportunity to get it done. But again, we defend as one, so it just didn't quite click for us tonight. And Robbie had his opportunities. In the end, he could have kicked a lot more, but he's happy to pass them off. It's a sign of who he is, Robbie Gray. I thought that moment where he gave it to Marshall on a lead-up, I thought that's exactly what he would do, because he's an ultimate team man. So he goes out. It was a really fitting send-off for mine, a good win by them as a team, and he deserved to play a solid game.
Can you give us an insight as to what Josh was like when you told him he'd be playing on ground?
He was quite excited because he's played some really good footy in the last month. He's taken his game to another level. He challenges me week in, week out, right throughout this season about I think I'm ready, and we both decided he might have been ready about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's done really well. So he's one of those players that we talk about when we talk about the progression of this group and the optimism about the future. Josh is one of those guys that it was great to see him finish the season strong. He was a little disappointed tonight, but that's not the season.
As a fan rather than as a coach, did you enjoy that Robbie was there for the first bounce?
I knew he'd be around. I knew he'd be somewhere around it.
It just seemed fitting that that's the way he should start.
He was always going to go in. Like that. Robbie at his best was as good on ball as he was forward. He was just that good forward that you didn't want to waste him on ball. Now that's saying something. That means he's a pretty damn good forward.
What did you say to him after the game when I think you had a little bit of a chat with him?
I told him he's a prick. No, I just said, mate, you've been unbelievable. It's been a pleasure to watch you and a pleasure to work with you. Can I tell you what he said? When are we having a beer?
Matthew, just another matter. The Jungle Drums seem to be beating about Isaac Rankin. Can you shed any light on your club's interest in him?
Well, no, we don't talk about players from other footy clubs. That's been a pretty simple line I've given you guys week in, week out. But I respect and understand the question.
Matthew, when I asked you in November about your first 22, how many things are locked in and what looks right? A year on was November, August, yep. But how much further progress have you made in filling those gaps?
A hard one to answer because we still feel like we've got a really strong group. And when I say group, that 44, 45 players. In saying that, I think you're starting to see a little bit of a lean towards, Jordan Butts at fullback and, has been solid throughout the year. Nick Murray's taken his game to another level, so has sort of, found that position alongside Jordan, and those two are working really well together as key backs. I could go through the side and talk about Darcy Fogarty and where he's taken his game to this year. Well, I would say at round one, even Darcy would sit alongside me now and say, I'm not sure if I'm in the 22, whereas at the moment, he's done so much work on his game that you sort of pencil him in as he's an outstanding forward in the competition, let alone our side. So, yeah, that we continue to work through that as a group. Laddie in the midfield is, sitting up there with the best in the competition as a midfielder, and he's now had a couple join him in Sam Barry, whose game's gone to another level. Jake Saligo's in his first year. That's, he's played majority of the season, and I've got to be careful what I say. Probably stiff not to get a rising star on, but we're a bit biased when it comes to our boys. And then Chase Jones on the wings, been really solid. Mitch Hinge on the other wing. So there's so many.
So the magnets are sticking better on your whiteboard.
We feel like we're starting to build, but by no means are any of these guys locked in, because you've got guys, Shoal pushing from underneath, Matt Crouch pushing from underneath, that want to get games and want to be in. Billy Frampton, who's desperate to get into the side, and at this point we've lent the other way. So it's a good sign for our footy club that we've got some depth there, and we'll continue to work through that.
So where's Billy on contract-wise? Because he's uncontracted, and word is other clubs want to talk to him. So where is he on his contract?
Well, so he's similar to anyone else we'll have a conversation with, over the next couple of days. And in fact, Billy's will hold off. He's eligible to play in the Sanford finals. So we've got 25, I believe, that now finish up, and they'll be sort of finished up by Wednesday. So they'll be, sit down, talk through, okay, what does the off-season look like? What does it look like from a contract point of view? Where are we going as a footy club? And he'll be one of those where, hopefully after a SANFL grand final, that we'll be able to sit down with and have that conversation.
Improvement you've seen this year, do you feel like finals are a realistic target next year?
I think you'll find every team in the competition comes into a season that wanting to play finals footy. So we want to be there. We've got work to do to get there. We haven't been there the last couple of years, so we're going to have to improve a few areas. But it's a hard one to, when you come in, I can guarantee you our players are doing everything they can to play finals footy. We don't want to finish up tonight. We want to be playing into September, as everyone does. So we'll put our heads down and go to work.
So what are you saying to those AFL qualified players? Because there's always the thought, the AFL season ends, these guys might think, well, why am I playing? Even the real agenda's over. What are you saying to them?
Well, we talk about finals footy, and there's nothing like it. It's a great experience for these guys. We're the youngest squad in the comp. So, we've got guys back there playing that they're young and still developing their games. So we talk to them about the opportunity that's now about to show itself. And it's playing finals footy at any level of football. It just rises to another level. And so the experience they're going to gain, over this next month, and that's the hope for us, is they're able to do that. We'll have a number of guys that will stick around that aren't eligible, that will support through that. Obviously, all our staff, we work right through. Our goal is to work right through to the end of September as a footy department and as a playing group every year. So these guys are really keen to play finals footy.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the year.
Cheers.